Good day and welcome back to my channel. So this is project update 1 for the project that yeah, I haven't tracked yet. So I'm in a group build for something wacky, wild, wacky, woolly. I forget exactly what it was. Just basically, go have fun, come up with something weird, something neat and different. And I figured, first of all, what's more weird than an Edsel? I picked up this kit for a conceptualized part of a project previously, and turns out this group build sort of falls exactly into that. So this is where I am. But what I decided to do is do a flying car. And I'm going to put up here a couple of what's the word? Inspiration. That's the word I'm looking for. Inspiration pictures. So the idea I had in mind sort of came from these pictures here. So here we go. Okay, so those pictures are the shots that that sort of inspired my thought, and I liked the concept of the 50s, sort of classic car look with some steampunk-ish dieselpunk or whatever flying doodads with it. Sort of, Ed Brown goes to, Doc Brown goes to the 50s and then does steampunk or something. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So this is me playing around with that concept. And so these are the engine mounts that I intend to use, and these come off of another model kit that I had, and I figured that's actually why I got that original kit, was to use these for that, and I just never got around to building this. So this group build gives me the opportunity to do that. And I figured while I was at it, I would play around with painting and other concepts of building and so forth. So, to begin with, playing around with the car, the interior of the car. Let's see if I can get a little more light on this up here. We'll bring this bad boy over here. So I'm playing around with weathering and just sort of giving it sort of a weather-worn look, because car, dirty floor and so forth, and sort of build up the interior like sort of what you would expect for the 1950s-ish used car. And the original thought was, so the Edsel is, it could be totally restored and looking really cool, or it could be worn up and beat up and that kind of thing. And that's sort of the direction I'm going to go. So the interior started off with white and then just started fading it with different shades of tan and so forth. I'm not happy with the blacks, with the darks, so I'm going to continue to play around with those and tinker with, giving it some more fading and other wear. Doing black, especially black for upholstery, is a little bit challenging, so I'm working on that. So I'm not really worried about the engine. I have the engine in here pretty much to take up the space from the underneath view. But flipping it over, I've put this piece under here specifically to add a little bit of flavor to the underside. So, sort of greebly up it is, and greebly up the thing and give it more of a look. I've also run more piping and other like say these pipes here are added on to come out to these junction points, which is where the engines fit. So the motorized engines go there to give it more of an industrial sort of look. And I guess that's the word I've been looking for, is an industrial look. So as you can tell, the base color for the car is going to be white. So I'm following the same aesthetic for that you would get in the 50s, where the all the big panels are all the same color and that kind of thing. So I'm going to continue along that mindset. I haven't figured out the accent color, so The top and side panel and rear for an Edsel are accent color. So like see here you have the yellow with the white. I want this one to be white with an accent color. So I have my interior is black, white and black. So I could do white and black and then play around with shading and weathering a white and black car. But the panels on the engines here where we don't have the mechanical parts are white, and it's the same thing I'm doing here. So all of these are going to be weathered white, and there will be more piping and wiring and so forth coming out of this to sort of follow that same sort of look that the inspirational car is like. So this here, this is, some green stuff that I'm forming up into, I'm giving it a chance to cure up, but it's going to become hosing, which is, this stuff is easy to make and easy to use, and I just had a bunch of extra laying around because I had to use a bunch of green stuff to get some of these things to work out. So you can see I've built up the mounts here and put some stuff in here for the engine. Like I said, this is only here to give to sort of fill up the space. The car itself, so the car body, I don't want to beat it up. I kind of would like it to have a worn look, but not dented and pounded kind of thing. So I'm anticipating having some fun just kind of doing weathering. I'd like to go ahead and dress it up and give it a, sort of a nice finish, but a worn one that, the car's seen time. So the engines are pretty straightforward. I took the old mounts, added some of the wheel well mounts that then mesh up to other wheel well mounts that I had from another car. And for the front, these are obviously magnetized, as you can see. So the front ones go on like this, the back ones go on like this. And that lets me, position them as I would like, and if I want to, I will probably have it displayed in a quote unquote landed position where we have not on the steering wheel, but just sort of set down like that. Getting the car body on is a little bit challenging, but you kind of get an idea of how this will look. So the engines will go like that, and you'll have sort of a car with these extra engines and just some extra greeblies sticking out. I may be able to set it up with a on a stand or some forth. I haven't figured that part out yet. But anyway, so that is how far I am at this moment. At this point, it's detailing. And I apologize. Normally, it's difficult for me to video the creative process for something like this, because reality is I'm making up as I go. I just sort of sit here and I play with things, and I take parts and I stick them on and go, this is kind of this looks boring. So I was looking at the bottom of this and it looked boring. I didn't like how the bottom of this car looked compared to, the inspiration vehicle. The inspiration vehicle had a whole bunch of piping and thing hanging out from the bottom, and I didn't want to go that bad, but I did want to add some more interest to the underneath. So I can run a bunch of cabling and piping from here up into there, and some out of here back into here. Maybe come and wrap some up around in through here. I want to maybe open up a panel or two on here, in one of these engines or two. And one of the nice things about having these engines the way they are is I can work on them separately while I work on the car itself. So once I get the interior done to the state that I would like it to have, I can sort of set it aside and I can work on the body. The body will kind of pretty much just drop on. It's getting on there is a little bit challenging, but it'll just sort of, once I get the majority of the interior done, it can wait while I go ahead and do 90% of doing up the body, and I can do the coloring for the body and so forth. I will say this kit, the other thing I did do is I de-chromed all the chrome parts, just because Yeah, I don't like the way they looked. But for the most part, the model kit, this Edsel kit is really nice. The pieces, the fit for these parts, the detail on these parts, the engine's actually really incredibly detailed. You got some nice look in here, so you could actually do a nice display of the car. So I recommend the kit for, you know, just what it is. But anyway, that is build update number 1 on the wild, woolly, and crazy build that I'm working on. There will be more, and hopefully I'll get another video in before I actually finish it. But there you go. I hope this is interesting, and you find it somewhat entertaining. And with that, I will say have a good night and happy modeling.